My name is Dancho Danchev. I'm an internationally recognized cybercrime researcher, security blogger, and threat intelligence analyst. I've been doing active cybercrime research since 2007 when I originally launched my personal blog, which is easily considered one of the securities industry's leading security publications with over 5.6 million page views. You can easily check the blog which I've enlisted here. Okay, so here's a sample table of contents regarding this presentation in terms of the topics that I'll walk you through. For instance, who am I? A brief introduction into who am I and what I've been up to during the years and how it all began and what I'm up to in terms of cyber security research, cybercrime research, and threat intelligence gathering, past achievements. A brief introduction into some of my other achievements, which include the JCHN Award for the best blog at ZDNet, which is the zero-day blog. Current achievements, a brief introduction into some of my current achievements, which include the management of the infamous Astra Vista Box SK project, where I'm currently running a popular security project, how I got involved in OSINT, how I got involved in cybercrime research, and how I got involved in threat intelligence. So who am I? I've been an independent contractor since 2007, working under NDAs, which stands for non-disclosure agreements. Long story short, I work on some pretty interesting and sensitive job positions. Unfortunately, I cannot disclose the company that I work for and the type of job that I work for, which stands for cybersecurity research. I maintain my personal blog, which is called Dancho Danchev's blog, which is one of the most popular security blogs in the world with 5.6 million page views since December 2005 and 1,256 articles and millions of readers across the globe. I used to be managing director at the infamous astrovista.com during 2002-2006, where I was responsible for content in security news and the production of a monthly security newsletter, where I was responsible for interviewing various people from the scene in the security industry and things like that. I was also a security blogger for ZDNet for a period of 4 years, where I won a popular award. I was also a security blogger for 2 years at Webrook, where I presented at InfoSec 2012, and I'm currently running a project on the infamous Astra Vista Box SK project, which is part of the Box SK franchise. Okay, some of my previous presentation experience includes I've presented with the HoneyNet project on the topic Intel on the criminal underground who's who in cybercrime for 2007. I also exposed the dynamic money recruitment ecosystem, which is quite an important presentation. I also gave a presentation at RSA Europe 2012 on the topic cyber jihad versus cyber terrorism separating hype from reality. And I also gave the keynote at CyberCamp 2016 in Spain on the topic exposing Coopface, the world's largest botnet. Here are some comments and recommendations from colleagues. I can easily begin with Len Spissen, who is a well-recognized figure in the information security world, who basically says that I have my pulse on the cyber criminal community, and he can think of a few people who have the understanding when it comes to cyber intelligence, understanding of the cyber threat. My next recommendations come from a colleague whose name is Jacques Erasmus, who used to work with me while I was working with Webroot. And the next recommendation comes from Jeffrey Carr, who is also referenced in considering he's one of the best and most insightful researchers working in InfoSec today. One of my next recommendations is from Günther Oman, who is a well-known colleague of mine, who also recommends me highly enough. The other recommendation is from Kevin Townsend, who recommends me in the context of saying that I was maintaining I was participating in one of the rubrics on his website when I was fresh out of college, and I was already possessing quite a lot of decent information security experience. And the last recommendation is from a very good friend of mine whose name is Siart Armin, who is very deep into cybercrime research, and he recommends me as well. Here are some of the mainstream news articles referencing my research during the year 2008. These are mainstream news articles referencing my research, such as, for instance, SC Magazine, PC World, Computer World, and any other major publications. So whenever I publish some of my research, these mainstream news media publications easily quote me, and they write an article about research. So here are some of the articles that referenced me during 2008. Here are some of the articles that referenced me in 2010, 2011. Here are some other articles that referenced my research during 2012. These are all exclusively mainstream news articles on popular information security news websites. Here are some additional articles that reference my research during 2013. Here's a sample biography of mine. So basically, I'm an expert in the field of cybercrime fighting and threat intelligence gathering, having actively pioneered my own methodology for processing threat intelligence, leading to a successful set of hundreds of high-quality analysis and research articles published at the industry's leading threat intelligence blog, which is ZDNet's zero-day blog, Dancho Danchev Materials of Information Security, and WebBoosted blog, where my research has been featured in TechMeme, ZDNet, CNN, PC World, SC Magazine, The Register, New York Times, CNET Computer, and H Plus Magazine. And I continue to produce most of my research in my personal blog, which you can check after the end of this presentation. Now on the topic of OSINT. OSINT stands for Open Source Intelligence, and many of you might be very interested in how I got involved in open source intelligence. Open source intelligence is the use and the process and the utilization of publicly obtainable information, on the process of publicly obtainable information for the process of using this information to come up with proper decision-making, research and analysis. And one of the most important things that got me involved into open source intelligence back in 2007 was a famous quote by President Nixon on the CIA. What use are these people over there at the CIA? They got 40,000 people over there reading newspapers. And what's important to find out about this particular topic is that the newspapers they read actually lead to some quite sophisticated and advanced decision making on behalf of national state leaders across the world, in particular the United States of America, such as, for instance, I've also tried to establish the foundations for on the topic of how I got involved into cybercrime research, and here is an emphasis on the current situation. For the time being, there is a lack of big impact making disruptive individuals in cyber attack and cyber campaign analysis and attribution, which prompts for a change to happen in the context of a one-man operation in the field. What I have in mind is that on the majority of occasions, you can have a team of approximately 10 or 15 people who do their type of research, but in the end of the day, it would be several key people and individuals across the information security industry that are truly making an impact with their contributions in terms of tracking down, shutting down campaigns launched and organized by bad actors. What do I mean by referring to as an expert? It means that this is a daily coordination of cyber attack analysis and takedown activities. What do I mean by referring to as a leader? It means international dominance over cyber attack exposure and attribution. And technical, it means hands-on technical experience in cyber attack attribution. Throughout the years, I have published thousands of articles on cyber attack analysis and attribution, and which led me to research and publish a personal memoir, which also includes a variety of other threat intelligence research compilations. You can easily find my memoir in both Bulgarian and English. The Bulgarian version of the memoir also includes an audio book, which is made available online for free. In the second photo, you can see this is one of my, this is a very good friend. He's called, his name is Jeffrey Carr. This is a slide from one of his presentations where he's busy working on an important company back in the US. And he's basically enlisted all the competition that his company is facing. As you can see, I'm the only individual listed as a competition in terms of cyber attack analysis and cybersecurity research, and the rest are just companies. And as you can see in the last screenshot, on the majority of occasions, I also make the news in the malicious software releases courtesy of the bad guys. As you can see here, this is my personal photo. This is which is embedded in the official Phoenix web malware exploitation kit in the actual server, which means that every time a cyber criminal uses it, they will be seeing my personal photo. This is courtesy of them as an appreciation for all the research I've been doing against them one way or another. Here's a brief introduction. Who am I? If I already did that, I made a small presentation. In terms of open source intelligence, also known as sourcing, I have a saying that everything that can be found has already been found somewhere online, which means that the information that you're looking for is not scarce. It's publicly available. Someone out there has already found that information, enriched it, and used it for various other purposes, which could be nation-state decision-making or cyber attack attribution. In terms of cybercrime research, I am one of the world's leading experts in the field of cybercrime fighting on the web since 2007. And in terms of threat intelligence, I have participated in a top-secret GCHQ government program called Lovely Horse to monitor hackers online, which you can easily find out by going to Edward Snowden's archive and looking for my old Twitter profile. Here is a brief introduction into what is OSINT open source intelligence. It's a process of using publicly obtainable information for the purpose of enriching this information and ending up with a proper decision-making process. This also includes cyber attack attribution, as you can see in the second screenshot. In terms of threat intelligence, I've prepared the following slide, which basically states that the United States is the biggest ransomware victim across the globe, and technical intelligence in this context stands for the technical and cyber attack, the technical collection of cyber attack information for the purpose of using it to properly attribute the party that's attacking other countries and things like that. In terms of Russia, remains the world's largest and most sophisticated hotbed for cybercrime activity globally. I've also decided to include China and basically describe it as an emerging cyber power that's also capable of launching sophisticated cyber espionage campaigns. What exactly do you need for the purpose of achieving success in the world of cybercrime fighting and threat intelligence? Here are some of the key concepts. You need to know who the bad guys are. You need to process and enrich as much technical information as possible. You need to do your best to share with the rest of the world in the most professional way possible. This is called, threat intelligence gathering. And the framework for success stands for daily persistence on your way to track down, monitor, and profile the bad guys, including their malicious and follow-on campaign using qualitative and quantitative methodologies. I would very much like to thank you for your time and attention. And I've decided to include some of the statistics from my personal blog. And if you have any questions, you can refer them to me now or after the presentation.